subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
All right, we're in the building. Yes, we are. You in the building, we in the building. Round of applause to you, ladies and gentlemen. We are in here. Welcome to the Tap In with Tariq. I am Tariq. Glad to have you guys in here. And before I get started, let me have you guys give me a retweet. Everybody give me a nice retweet, ladies and gentlemen. Retweet the broadcast. Give me a retweet. Glad to have everybody tuning in here. We're going to be chopping it up. Do y'all hear my dog snoring in the background? Hold on, let me do this before I get started because got my dogs in the cage. They're in the background snoring, and that shit is disturbing me. So let me put them outside real quick because I can't really chop it up with my big thick ass dog. That's Lulu's ass. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Y'all come on, dogs. Yes. All right, y'all bear with me 1 second. All right. All right, now I'm good to go. I'm good to go. How y'all doing, man? We in here. We in here. Let me do a quick roll call before I get started. And then we'll do what we need to do. First of all, let me shout out some of the regulars in here. We have, let me look down here. We got a lot of folks in here. We got damn near 500 people in the first 20 seconds. So you know it's about to be lit. We got Brother Ani Asaru. We got Miss Skyline. We got Michi God, Highland, Black Republican, Ty Powell, Brother Randy, FBA News and Events, the lovely Annika. We got Val. We got the Negro Black Knight Heritage. We have Sir Mike. We have Love I Am, Grinds TV, Trelly Trail. Where you been hiding, Trelly Trail? We got Hoodoo, Shane, Dirty Mackin, FBA Furball out there in Hawaii, Say JG, and the Tethernator in the building. Glad to have y'all in here. Round of applause to you. Now, have y'all heard that there's a new mayor in Tulsa, Oklahoma? They got a black mayor out there in Tulsa, and they got some major headlines saying that the Tulsa mayor proposes $100 million reparations plan for descendants of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. And now the white supremacists, boy, they're up in arms. Oh, reparations, oh, blah, 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 reparations. They get to crying about reparations. Oh, I wasn't there. I didn't own slaves. They start talking about slaves and all this stuff. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If these folks are going to be mad at reparations, I want it to be a real reparations package because they're going to be mad anyway. I don't want these folks mad and we ain't getting shit and there's no real tangibles given. Let me read what's going on with this reparations package. Let me read what this is on Fox News on their website. It says Tulsa's first black mayor proposed creating a $100 million private trust. Watch these words. As a part of a reparations plan for the impact of the Tulsa Race Massacre, which took place more than 100 years ago. Mayor Monroe Nichols, elected in November, said the trust would be used to provide scholarships and housing to the descendants of those impacted by the massacre. He clarified that the trust would not only, he clarified the trust would not involve direct cash payments, however. See, that right there is the problem. Quote, for 104 years, Tulsa Race Massacre has been a stain on our city's history. Nichols said Saturday, the massacre was hidden from history books only to be followed by intentional acts of redlining, a highway built to choke off economic vitality, and the perpetual underinvestment of local and state and federal governments. The problem is this ain't really got no teeth in it. This is not a real reparations plan. See, when they start talking about a reparations plan and no direct cash payments, it ain't no reparations plan. Let me read a little bit more real quick. He said, now it's time to take the next big steps to restore. The private charitable trust would be created with the goal to secure $105 million in assets, with most of the funding either secured or committed by June 1st, 2026. That's next year. Nichols said the city council would have to approve the transfer of any city assets to the trust. The plan calls for the bulk of the funding, $60 million, to go towards improving buildings and revitalizing the city's north side. It ain't reparations, man. That's not really reparations. See, we got to watch people. See, they know that us on the grassroots, we're talking reparations. We're talking about reparations. And these people are trying to use the word reparations to flip it into something else. Now we got the shield Bushmeat Barrister. Now, Bushmeat, let me hear what you got to say on this. Let's hear Bushmeat Barrister, because he's trying to get Bushmeat. What do you think about this bogus reparations package as a tether?
Yeah, it's messed up. It's bogus. I totally agree with you. It's a bunch of
Really?
nonsense. Yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. But I actually wanted to discuss with you. Last week, you spoke about per capita, and I'm not sure if you and most of your followers understand what per capita means. I mean, do you understand what per capita means?
Man, yeah, we know what it means. It's a nothing burger when it comes to discussing raw numbers.
Well, let's talk about raw numbers here. Like, let me just use this as an example. In the city of Detroit, last year had 204 homicides. The city of New York City had 377 homicides. Stupid people would believe that due to the fact that New York City had more homicides than Detroit, that Detroit is a whole lot safer. But in actuality, since there are more people, 20 million people in New York City and only less than 1 million people in Detroit, uh, in actuality, Detroit is much more dangerous than New York City. The same thing applies to Black people. Per capita, they're violent. They commit more violent crimes and homicides than white people per capita. That's why they say that Black people in America are way more violent than white people in this country. So that's per capita is very important.
No, that's not true.
It is very true. And the abortion rates too. You could just do a quick Google search. Black women kill their babies at an alarming rate. It's so sad. I mean, way more than white people.
Hmm.
And I want to discuss that with
Why?
you. Why
Why
is it?
is
No, I
that?
want to
Why is
ask
that?
you.
Why? Why? Why do they
Yeah,
kill their
no,
babies?
you're the expert in Black Americans. Why do Black American women kill their babies? Like they abort
Why?
their babies at a 40% rate
Why?
in this country.
Why?
They, I think it's because they hate themselves. Black people in America, Black women in America. That's my theory. Is that they have a
That's
lot of self-hatred.
that's the
A
pretty.
lot of
That's
a
that,
lot of Black American women are very fat.
sir,
Obesity rates. It's
sir.
just disgusting.
You are from Nigeria. Do you see the titties on the men over in your failed homeland running around there with them guts and them damn goosey titties flopping around? Y'all built like black women over there, y'all dudes. You can't sit up and talk about no black women and hating themselves and y'all sitting over there shitting on sidewalks trying to flee, swimming in the Atlantic Ocean trying to swim to Spain and Italy, and you talking about somebody hates themselves? Yeah, there's not an epidemic of black women aborting babies and whatever. Black women walk around here with babies all the time. But there's an epidemic of your village with a bunch of orphans. You talk about abandoning. See, you're projecting. Y'all got orphans running around and y'all step over the damn orphans in your failed homeland. You understand? Y'all got the biggest paternity frauds out there. Y'all got just the most degenerate relationships ever. You're not going to project your filth onto us, Bushmeat Barrister. Let me get the Negro Black Knight heritage to holler at you real quick. Negro Black Knight, hop in, please. Negro Black Knight, if you can, hop on in real quick. Unmute your microphone, please. I don't know if there's a double mute. If you can unmute that mic, that'd be great. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I guess he has a janky phone, but you're constantly deflecting from the original topic at hand, and that is the
No, I'm
abortion
bringing it
rates.
back.
And
Bring
the
it back.
abortion rates
I'm
are
gonna comment
extremely.
on. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, gentlemen. Thank you, brother Tariq, for allowing me to grab the mic. I got a master's degree in criminal justice and investigation, and I have a strong issue when people talk about per capita and all this other nonsense that they're pushing. Because one, we don't know about these immigrants and the criminality that they bring into our community,
Right.
which adds to the myth of this black on black criminality. And then when you have individuals such as from Nigeria specifically or Ghana that push human trafficking in their homeland when it comes to their children and stuff, I wonder what happened to the missing 300,000 black women in America that's being abducted. And it's a lot more than the hands of the white supremacists. It's also melanated people that hate our people just because of who we are, because they've been engaging in slave trade activity even since way back to the transatlantic slave trade. So the nerve of this gentleman here talking this rhetoric about black criminality, but not understanding the historical precedent and also the cultural precedent when it comes to these immigrant communities when interacting with our community is very, very dangerous,
Right.
very anti-Negro, very anti-Black American.
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I don't want to get too far off on the topic, but yeah, that's a great point. And Bushmeat Barrister loves projecting the failure and the degeneracy from his homeland and try to bring that over here to us. So I don't want to get sidetracked too much because I'm still talking about Tulsa and their bogus reparations claim. Going back to the Tulsa thing, it's very important that we don't fall for that bogus reparations claim. What they're offering is not real reparations. You understand? Let's be very clear. If people run around here saying reparations, we have to look and see what they're giving. No direct cash payments means no true reparations. Reparations, real reparations, that involves compensating the victims and their descendants directly. Any plan that really avoids direct payments and then they funnel the resources into institutions, real estate projects, that skips over the essential principle of individual compensation for specific harm. They harm specific people with that race massacre down there. It wasn't just buildings, they harmed the people. And also, we got to understand the difference between charity and reparations. See, calling this a private charitable trust, that reframes reparations as benevolence rather than a debt that's owed. Listen, reparations is not charity. People like to talk about, yeah, well, y'all want some handouts. No, no, no. We want justice. That's something that's owed. Hand out nothing. We are owed something as foundational Black Americans. To miss me with all that, I wasn't alive being there. I wasn't here. I wasn't there, buddy. No, no, no. The wealth generated from all that free ass labor has been compounded and passed down and compounded and passed down and compounded and passed down generation after generation after generation. That wealth has just been growing and growing and growing and growing. So, yeah, the wealth is still here that we generated with that labor, and the debt is still here. All the negative attributes from us being denied the resources and the economic tangibles that were accumulated from our foundational Black American ancestors. You see? And we've been sitting here with the societal debt, the economic strangulation, the forced illiteracy, some of the medical issues that have been passed down to a certain degree from being forced to eat certain things that we weren't supposed to be eating, and just all types of shit that's been passed down generationally based on that traumatic experience of 400 years of warfare. So it's not no handout. This is something that's owed to us. This we're talking about justice. A charitable structure, when you do it like that, see, that can be revoked, that can be redirected, repurposed, and it lacks the moral and legal force to serve as true reparations justice. And this program is janky because, see, the descendants of that warfare and that war crime, they get programs, not no real power. Providing scholarships and housing assistance and things like that, that keeps the recipients pretty much dependent on the programs with eligibility rules and oversight boards and different types of limitations. The true reparations, that put power and that puts the choice back in the hands of the injured party. Now we got to sit up here and let some bureaucrats decide what we do with the resources. That's not no real reparations. And the city, according to the wording of everything, they get to control all the assets. The mayor said the city council has to approve any transfer of the city assets. So that means the city, they still maintain control. Reparations should involve the transfer of wealth and autonomy, not just delayed or any type of conditional investments. Yeah. See, we got to look at the fine print when these people play these little games. And there's really no legal accountability for the harm that they've caused. See, real reparations, a real reparations plan, that requires an official government admission of liability and culpability, family. See, a voluntary trust with no admission of any kind of wrongdoing, that allows the city and the state to avoid any legal responsibility for the massacre and also the subsequent policies like the redlining and all of that stuff that happened afterward. So they get to kind of wiggle out of responsibility. And this whole thing where you focus on infrastructure and not inheritance. See, the bulk of the funds, they're saying it's going to go to improving the buildings and the city's infrastructure, not to the economic lives or intergenerational wealth of the people that's most affected. See, reparations should repair basically lost land, lost businesses, and generational wealth that was lost, not just the buildings and the roads. You see, and also with the plan, it's a very vague and delayed timeline. No, look at the words. The devil's in the details. You got to look at the words. It said the goal is to secure, not disburse, 150, well, yeah, $105 million by June 2026 for over a century after the massacre. So, this gives time for stalling, underfunding, political opposition, or just complete abandonment, especially since no legally binding action forces compliance. So this isn't something that's a legal policy. You know what I'm saying? It's basically like it's a charity. It's a charity fund. Yeah. So the state and the federal government, they're not legally obligated to do anything. There's no enforcement mechanism. So if the trust fails to deliver anything that it says it's going to do, any of the promised scholarships or the housing assistance and all of that, who's going to be held accountable? See, real reparations, it needs real legal guarantees. You got to have enforceable rights, enforceable oversight over everything so that the harmed community, you know, can get what's promised. Not no vague promises through no um, philanthropic structure. You know what I'm saying? And from what I've seen in this little plan that they got, it basically excludes survivors from decision making. Unless the descendants of the three known survivors, because some of the people who were actually in the massacre, they're still alive. A handful of the people are still alive, and their descendants, but the people who were actually there, they're still alive right now. And some people say they should have oversight roles. Yeah, because basically a lot of this is symbolic optics. This is more about political appearance and doing something, quote unquote, without shaking power structures. See, it allows white wealth and institutions to feel virtuous basically by supporting a safe version of reparations while really avoiding the deeper redistribution of wealth, land, and legal restitution. So listen, true reparations is not about revitalizing a neighborhood or offering limited benefits through a trust fund. It's about correcting economic theft, state violence, racial warfare with complete restitution. Anything else is symbolic reform disguised as justice. Well, this is the other day I was talking about how we got to be very, very honest about what happened to us. We got to look at it and frame it as warfare. What's happened to us and what's happening to us as foundational Black Americans is racial warfare. They have waged a quiet war on us for the last 400 years. We're in the 400-year war. Tulsa, for example, was a coordinated military style attack, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't a random race riot. That was a planned and executed assault involving white mobs, the police, the National Guard, and they were doing aerial bombings on Black people, family. They dropped explosives on civilians. That's a tactic used in warfare. Let's call that shit what it is. Warfare, warfare, warfare. It's the first time this country had a bomb dropped on this land was on us. That was warfare. They attacked a targeted sovereign community. Greenwood was a self-sustaining, prosperous Black economic enclave. That destruction was targeted. We talked about that in one of the Hidden Colors films. That wasn't just some random shit. They wanted to target that place because the brothers and sisters were so successful there and they were an economic threat. These people were talking about the Black community there at the time. They were self-sustained, self-contained. They didn't need the white folks. They were about to start doing international trade. That's what the real problem was. They were going to be some real power brokers out here. That's why they had to shut that down. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. That's just like bombing an enemy's capital. It's like a war crime. So destroying a Black financial hub, that was an act of economic warfare. Yeah? Come on, think about it. Oh, look, a Black man touched a white man. Really, look how it got started. It was a Black man who they said sexually assaulted a white woman in an elevator. I think he bumped into it. And there's been so many rumors about what happened in that elevator. So, oops, this Black man touched a white woman. We're going to burn the whole city down. No, that was targeted. And here's the thing, there were summary executions in mass graves. There were hundreds of Black people killed without any trial or charge, and they were dumped in mass graves out there. That's a hallmark of genocidal war crimes, not just racial hatred. That was a systematic extermination. We got to stop letting these people get away with minimizing the shit that they do. It's up to us to call that warfare. It's not, oh, they're just being ugly. They're just being ignorant. They just don't understand tolerance. Man, no, 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 no. Let's stop talking like this shit is like some kind of PTA meeting disagreement or something. No, no, this is warfare. The US government was completely complicit. Remember, local and state government, they deputized these white mobs. They gave them weapons. They gave them permission to kill and destroy the property. The state failed in its constitutional duty to protect those black citizens. Not only did they fail, they joined in the aggression. That was state sanctioned violence. That's a war crime. And the civilians, they were interned in camps. They put them in camps. After the massacre, they put thousands of black people, rounded them up at gunpoint, and there's pictures of it. You got the black folks walking around with their hands up after they've been attacked, and they put them in internment camps. That's not a response to a riot. Come on now. Go look at some of those pictures of the Tulsa race riot. They got black people, the National Guard or whoever got guns on them, and black people walking down the street with their hands up. That's POW shit. That's how POWs are treated in occupied war zones. You understand? That was an attack on US citizens based on ethnicity. Under international law, targeting a population based on race or ethnicity for mass violence qualifies as a crime against humanity. The people in Greenwood were targeted solely for being black and successful, nothing more, nothing less, not for any type of military or criminal action. Let's call that what it is and stop playing games with it. They were targeted for their race and ethnicity. And that was psychological and cultural warfare. See, beyond just the physical violence, that attack was really meant to terrorize future generations. And that was to really thwart black people from building wealth and to psychologically trick us up out of forming strong communities. See, that was generational warfare. That was designed to kind of break our resolve and the cultural identity of us. That aligns with ethnocide. That's ethnocide. And that destruction was intentional and permanent. Uh, from what I understand, a lot of people's insurance claims and legal protections were denied. Nobody was ever punished. They didn't punish the white people for that. To this day, they didn't punish nobody. They normalize war on black people. Not a single person was held accountable. That impunity reflects how war crimes often go unpunished when they're committed against a marginalized group. So that further proves that the white supremacists in the US government, they allowed warlike campaigns of terror against black Americans without consequence. See, we got to call that stuff out. See, black people, we are in a prolonged domestic war. Tulsa was just one battle in a larger ongoing domestic war against foundational black Americans from slavery, convict leasing, COINTELPRO, redlining, police brutality, all of that stuff that goes on today. Reparations for Tulsa has to be framed as partial compensation for wartime atrocities in a larger ethnic conflict that's still unfolding right now. You see? That's why framing it as a war crime and not just a tragedy, see, that places everything in the correct historic and legal context that demands accountability, not through no damn social apology. Damn that. A trust fund, a charity. Get the man, that was a war crime. We have to frame this stuff as war. We can't just sit and make it seem like, okay, people can harm us and we just have to learn how to hug people. And they just we got to be more forgiving and we got to just turn the other cheek and just be a little nicer and we all get together. No, 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 no. You can't do all this stuff to other groups. That white man who he threw some Molotov cocktails on some people at a pro-Israel thing over there in Colorado. He was up there talking about Palestine or whatever. Boy, they charged him with a hate crime so fast. It's been all on the news, boy. Anti-Semitism, 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 hate crime, hate crime. Boy, they hit him with all types of hate crimes. You understand? Listen, I can see another anti-Semitic hate crime bill coming down the pipeline pretty soon. Y'all just watch. They're gonna have another one. Somebody's gonna put together another hate crime bill to protect people from anti-Semitism because of that. The minute one of them get attacked or any other group, boy, the hate crime bills, boy, the condemning from the state, the government. Yes, I'm such and such senator, and I condemn that anti-Semitism and I condemn anti-Asian hate. Now we sitting up here, got white supremacists out here calling black children N-words and sitting up here making money, putting up a crowdfunding, and they're getting over $1 million for denigrating a black child. Yeah, did y'all see a video of a black man? I think this was in Indiana. He was at a biker bar and them white supremacists jumped him over in Indiana. Did y'all see that? They were calling him all types of N-words. They were beating this black man. They were like, they said he didn't pay his tab, and then all of a sudden he was all types of N-words, and they were beating on him. Now, where's the hate crime with that? I didn't hear nothing about no hate crime with that. I saw some white supremacists online justifying it, talking about, well, he should have paid his tab. You see, that's warfare. That's warfare, ladies and gentlemen. You see, and we got to call it what it is and stop playing games with it. Let me get some calls in here, family. Y'all raise your hand if y'all ready. Let's get some calls in the building. Raise those hands if you are ready. Raise those hands. Let's get brighter days in the building. Brighter days in the building. Brighter days, hop on in, brighter days.
Brighter days, greeting our brother Tariq Nasheed.
How are you, brighter days?
I'm doing well. I'm just thankful for the FBA. I'm working with a brother that's gonna help me tomorrow. I have an appointment to get everything together with my genealogy and everything like that.
Okay.
Actually, I did today a podcast myself, just going back to my ancestors that came out of North Carolina, Currituck, and everything else. And I want to be certified, verified. Yes.
Absolutely.
Our ancestors were here before any of them troglodytes ever laid on the plane.
Mhm.
And one of the things is that I appreciate with that. One of the things I want to tell you, when you came out with Hidden Colors, right? It was at that time my husband was still around. He transitioned.
Okay.
But the thing is that his brother was a professor at a school in Washington D.C. and he was getting ready to retire. And he showed the class your hidden colors. Guess what happened to him?
Mm.
He turned around and they said that something when he was in the school, he have his memory and all kind of stuff. And they try to condemn him with the brain aneurysm.
Wow.
And we already know how that happens already. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they do that. Every time we get closer and closer to the point that, hey, we're getting ready to tell you something real. And this is what's up. They come up with these phobias, or just like right now with the outbreak of the measles going all across the place, because they don't want brothers and sisters to hear this. And then on top of it, when you try to tell brothers and sisters, they don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
They don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe that we were here. But it's common sense. Decades and decades and decades and decades. Let's go back. Let's go back. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, dear. I'm gonna land your plane. Thank you so much. Let's get Free Dirk in here.
Yeah, what's up, Tariq? Calling in from the UK. Just wanted to salute you
Yes,
and all of your work over the years.
thank you.
Big fan of you. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. is it possible for you to come to the UK? Because I did see Umar Johnson did a speech at the Oxford Union, so I think it would be great for you to come over the come over the shores to the UK and do a few speeches,
Yeah,
spread your message. I would be personally, I'd be a strong advocate for that. Um, I'm very supportive of your movement, and yeah, just more power to you.
yeah, they got a ban on me over there though. You know that, right?
Oh, I did
Yeah,
for real? I didn't even know.
yeah, look that up. Yeah, they banned me from coming to the UK. That's the problem. I've been trying to get that ban lifted for a minute. It's very difficult hollering at the home office over there. But yeah, they banned me. They banned me and threatened to lock me up if I show up over there. So I gotta get that ban lifted. But I would be glad to come on over there and chop it up. I really enjoy the brothers and sisters over there in the UK. They're real good folks, solid people. And they the UK government, they're like, okay, you're a little bit too influential. No, no, no. You're a little bit too damn influential. Because I've been out there several times. I've done a few lectures out there and screenings. And I know my first lecture out there, it was like at a concert hall, damn it sold out. I mean, they were treating me like I was Lionel Richie. They were chasing my car down the street. Tariq, hello, Tariq. Hello, can I get a photograph, Tariq? It was that. People like really, really showing major love out there in the UK, showing major, major love, you know? And I got love for them, real good folks. So I do want to get back out there and chop it up with the folks. But I got to get that ban lifted. Excuse me. I need to put the heat on in my house. Excuse me. Let me see who else we got. Let's see. Y'all raise your hand. I had somebody up here. I forgot what their name was. Okay. Red Cloud, you don't be wanting nothing, man. Red Cloud, you don't want nothing. You call up all the time and just be talking about a completely different topic. Every time you call up and talk about something completely different, Red Cloud. What's your deal, Red Cloud? Let me get him on here. What's Red Cloud?
What up, Tariq?
What's happening?
Nothing, dude. The UK won't let you in.
No, they will not. I'm banned over there.
That ain't gonna. I'm gonna talk to the white supremacist
Mm.
because that's up.
Can you?
We don't like that here.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Can you?
Because like,
Well, at the next meeting, can you talk to him and see what's going on with that?
oh, we're gonna handle it. All right. Because it's like it's a bit. Like us hating you versus them. It's different, and that's up.
Right.
So like, yeah, I'll handle that.
Have
I'm gonna handle that.
next Mayo meeting, make some noise about it at the next Mayo meeting.
I got you.
All right. So yeah, make that a priority. All right. All right. Let me see. Y'all raise y'all hands. Raise your hands if you want to get in here, because we do have a lot of folks. Let's get SD Global. SD Global in the building. SD Global. Where are my New York people, by the way? Because I'm gonna be in New York later on.
What's up, family?
What's up, SD? How you doing, brother?
Oh, nothing, man. Just chilling, kicking back, man. Listening to you.
No, no.
I wanted to touch on them white supremacists
Yeah, go ahead.
at the bar.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, they weak, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much, brother. Thank you. Okay. All right, brother. I thought he was about to get deep. Okay. Yeah. So in Indiana, where did that happen in Indiana? Yeah, because that's a problem. Yeah, that is a major problem. Now, where are my New York people? Like I said, I'm going to be in New York next week. I'll be in New York City. We're going to have the family out there. My New Yorkers, which zoo is better? Because I do want to take the kids to the zoo out there. I know they got a zoo in Prospect Park, I think in Brooklyn, right? So is the Brooklyn Zoo better or the Bronx Zoo? All my New Yorkers, which zoo would you recommend? The Brooklyn Zoo, if it's called the Brooklyn Zoo, or the Bronx Zoo? Which one would be better? All my New York cats. Because Yeah, we will be out there next week. Let me see this. Ogun, hop on, brother. Ogun, hop on. Mr. Ogun, what's up, fam? Ogun? Ogun, unmute your microphone, Ogun. That would be great. There you go.
What's good? What's good, Tariq? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. What's happening with you?
Chilling, man. I'm at work, but yo, I got a question I gotta ask you.
Go ahead.
So listen, I know you don't knock interracial couples and all, but don't you feel that white men is only getting with black women, having kids with them and families with them, only just to stay relevant?
You do.
Because I remember you talked about how white people numbers are dwindling, is going downhill.
Yeah.
So I was just figuring like, are they just getting with black women all of a sudden just to stay relevant, like have some type of relevancy, like having kids with them, having a family with black women? I'm not trying to hate on them, but
Right. Well, yeah, to a certain degree, they get in these relationships and they do a lot of race play and slave play. It's some real janky stuff that happens with these relationships. But yeah, what they do, they get in these relationships and start creating little sleeper cells. So they start raising these melanated people with a white supremacist mindset, and then they unleash their asses up under us. See, everything white supremacists do, they use it as a form of war. So we got to understand that. So they weaponize everything. Everything is a weapon. Their relationships are weapons. They weaponize everything. So we got to watch out for that. That's why I keep telling people, we got to start thinking in terms of warfare. We out here playing games with these people. They look at us when we come in the room, it's warfare time. And warfare is based on deception. And the biggest way or the best way to have effective warfare is to wage war on people who don't even realize that war is being waged on them. That's what they've done to us. See, that's why they focus on me so much, because I talk in terms of military strategy. That's why they're always looking. They're like, "Oh, yeah, this Negro, he's on to something. Well, we got to watch him." Because yeah, I'm not under any illusion what these people are doing. They're waging war. It's called warfare. This is war. We are prisoners of war dealing with these people, and that's the reality. We got to look at it like that.
Slide on that rude work. Slide on that rude work.